Hello and welcome back to the Secrets to Alignment podcast with your host, Savannah Schaffer. I am so thankful that you are here. If you are currently recognizing that you are in a people pleasing loop, maybe you're having a lot of anxiety, maybe you feel like you're constantly stressed, this episode may illuminate many things for you. Okay. When I started to do some research on this incredible phenomenon, this connected so many dots for myself and all of the clients that I work with. Before we get into this episode, I just want to preface that this is an episode that is very touchy because we are going to talk about the relationship that you have with your parents. And if you've been listening to my podcast, if you've been in the personal development place for quite some time, you, I'm sure, have heard that the relationship that you have with your parents really does influence the way that you make decisions later on in life, the way that you show up, the confidence that you have, the worthiness that you have. Everything under the sun can point back to the way that our parents raised us and the beliefs that they instilled in us, whether limiting, whether expansive, whether they told us that we could achieve anything that we wanted, whatever that we were told as a child can really influence the way that we grow up. Now, I'm going to take this all the way back to literally the first few moments that you took your first breath. Okay, and this is important because so many women come to me and they tell me that they are finding themselves in this constant pattern of people pleasing, not asking for what they're worth, not feeling like they're good enough, constantly being stressed. And after working so intimately with women one-on-one for years and years and years at this point, I started to recognize this pattern. And then when I actually did the research, I realized that science actually proves that the relationship specific to your mother, which we're going to be covering in this podcast today, the relationship that you have with your mother highly influences your self-worth, self-esteem, work ethic, and so many other elements of your life. We can create a whole different podcast about father figures in another time, but today we are simply talking about mothers and the need that we have after we come out of the womb and we are born into this world. So every single one of us have three needs from our mothers, and our mothers are supposed to nurture us, guide us, and protect us. And when one of those needs are not met for various reasons, unfortunately, we can get to a place where we are not showing up at our fullest potential. Now, I really do want to make sure that I'm prefacing this with saying this is not to shame any mother, whether you are a mom listening to this and you're recognizing, oh my gosh, like I'm doing this to my own children. Maybe you're noticing, you're connecting dots that your mother has done this to you. This is not to shame them whatsoever. This is just to allow us to have some awareness and to take responsibility in our own healing so that we can move forward and create the life that we are meant to live. When we are not aware of these things, it can end up leading us to things that we're seeking external validation. We're not putting our full on effort into the things that we desire. There's so many different things that can come out of this. And when I started listening to a podcast all about this and started to research the studies, I started realizing that there was so much more here than I even knew. Our first real bond is with our mothers, and that is a primal, instinctual thing. They are there to feed us, to nurture, to care, all of those things that I mentioned earlier. Now, when they do not, and when that primal need is unmet, we will do anything to get that need met. And sometimes that shows up in maybe unhealthy ways. A lot of mothers were not aware that these things were extremely important. So because they just followed exactly what their mom was doing, this is where we now can stop this pattern and we can create a different future going forward. Because I honestly do believe that every single one of us mothers are actually responsible for what is happening in today's world, because we are the ones that are raising the men and the women that are walking this earth right now. So if you are somebody who says fuck men, whenever men came from a woman, okay, and a woman's responsibility and a man's responsibility is to raise this child and to create this child to be someone who's going to do great things in the world. So with that being said, when you show up intentionally about these things, you can create a human being. You can also forgive your mother if you're recognizing these are things that she has done to you, but you can create an incredible human that's walking this earth, making a huge difference just by making sure that you're meeting their needs of being loved, being nurtured, being protected, and having a guide. So when we kind of look back, and you can take some time to reflect right now, sometimes our moms weren't present because they themselves were in a very abusive relationship. Sometimes they weren't present because they were in a constant state of anxiety and they just didn't know how to regulate themselves to then take care of the children in their lives. Maybe your mother was going through a really nasty divorce when you were born. Maybe your mom and dad were just not in a loving relationship. Maybe your mother was mothered with more cruel words than what we are really supposed to be having in our childhood. Maybe she was mothered that way, and so then she's just kind of passing it down to you. There are various different experiences that every single one of us have, but it's very important to start connecting these dots and to start recognizing what was really going on here. Now, I took some time to reflect on this, and my mom had 6 children, okay? So she was constantly splitting her attention amongst all of us. She was taking care of the baby, then she was making sure that the oldest one got to their football practices, then she was taking care of, the middle child, and then making sure that the toddler was okay, and she was really all over the place. And I do not blame her for this whatsoever. I actually think that she did an incredible job, but I noticed myself as the oldest girl wanting to step in and take off as much stress as physically possible from my mom. I thought that if I were to just help out my mom as much as possible, then she could be more present, she'd be less stressed, and she'd be able to, be there for us more. But the reality was that just was not the case. There was so much going on at once. And so now that I'm aware of these things, I can really let go of any parts of me in the past that maybe felt like resentment or anything else that would have come up. I'm now aware because of this kind of work that I've done. And I think that it's that right there, like just that awareness piece, it makes such a huge difference in the relationship that you have with your mom. I also think that when you become a mother, so many different perspectives are starting to shift as well. You start to recognize things about your mom that you're like, whoa, wow, she was like really doing the best that she absolutely could. And you give them so much more grace. And so maybe that is just what you need to take from this episode, is like, give your mom some grace. Seriously, this is the first time she's walking on earth as well. But I will say that all of these different experiences, when that need is not met, maybe she was dealing with depression, maybe she had postpartum depression and she couldn't actually like be there for you when you really needed her the most. And those experiences that can lead us to do whatever it is possible to earn your mom's respect, to earn your mom's love, admiration, approval, and all of those things. So maybe you notice that she paid more attention to you when you got good grades. And so then every single time that you were trying to like work really hard, you were looking for that external approval. It wasn't even to fulfill your own, like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of myself. Like, not to just give yourself the approval, but you're searching for it externally. And that is when that becomes a little bit of a problem here. Because when we're searching for things to make us feel a certain way inside, we're searching for those things external to us. That is when we stop creating life and we start responding to life. So in our daily life right now, like if you are constantly searching for external validation, you're constantly searching for something external to you to make you feel like you're finally enough or finally worthy, you're never actually going to be showing up in your fullness, in your most authentic version of you, because you're so worried about people pleasing. You're so worried that you need to get that other person's approval. And people pleasing is another thing. That's another thing that this tends to lead to. When our mothers are not giving us that nurture, that guidance, that protection, the love that we deserve, that unconditional love, then we will start to search for that in other ways. So maybe we will minimize ourselves in relationships, or we will do things in relationships to not be ourselves, but to please the other person. Or maybe in your work life, you're doing this as well. When you start to connect these dots, you're going to start to have a higher level of awareness, and that awareness is going to help you shift and change and get out of these behaviors. One of the biggest things that I've noticed that mothers can influence us in is our confidence within our body. If your mother was maybe more loving to you while you were at a lower weight or a higher weight, then you're always striving to make sure that you're in that specific weight range so that you can get your mother's approval. And even with this, that means that you're shifting your eating habits to make sure that you please someone else. You're not actually taking care of yourself the way that you know you should be, be, because you want to make sure that you're getting that approval from your parents. And even like those moments where your mother is being extremely cruel, if that's an experience that you had where your mom was just not kind to you and she was constantly picking you apart, probably because she was picking her own self apart. A lot of times when our mothers are picking us apart, it's because they were always doing that to themselves, or because they got bullied, or their parents were talking down to them for that specific thing as well. And they want you to avoid that. And their way of keeping you safe is by making sure that you don't experience what they have experienced. So now they're being a little bit more cruel, or a little bit more like too honest for you, too blunt. And that can hurt us, obviously, but they're doing it from a place of wanting to keep you safe a lot of times. Other times it's from a really, really hurt place, and it sucks. And I'm giving you so much love if that's the experience that you had growing up, if your mother was super cruel and just not kind to you for whatever reason that it was. It definitely is not something that you can excuse, but it is important for you to pause and recognize that that was her own internal battles that she was struggling with. Let's say she was always struggling with her weight, and now she's constantly telling you, make sure you don't eat that candy bar, or make sure you don't do yada, yada, yada. Knowing and connecting the dots and realizing that that was actually her own internal battle that she was dealing with, and then she was kind of projecting it onto you. That is really important, and it can give you a lot of healing. Maybe you were the one out of all of your siblings that took on all of the responsibilities so you could relieve stress. And now you're always feeling like you have so much to do, or there's just no room for you to play and exist. You grew up too fast, or you just simply can't enjoy life. That's also another way that this could influence you. Every single one of these experiences with our mothers and the dynamic that we have with them, it highly impacts the way that we move throughout the world. If you have experienced this, then your energy would have been going towards asking yourself things like, am I safe? How do I get that person's love? How do I get her approval? How do I make her feel good? Instead of you just discovering who you are and discovering things about life. And this is before we could even walk or talk, speak, everything. This was very, very, very young that your body learned to respond to these things. So you might be thinking like, oh my gosh, I was a newborn, I was a baby. How could that have happened? We might not remember it, but our nervous system does. Our nervous system recognizes the patterns, and it knows exactly what it needs to do to get the approval, to get the love, to get the nurturing, to get the protection, to get the guidance from its mother. Because that is a primal need. That is what we all need from our parents. So with this being said, if you're somebody who deals with anxiety, this is likely because your nervous system was constantly activated and stuck in fight or flight mode. So you'll have chronic anxiety because you're always wondering, how can you figure these things out? How can you get this person's approval? How can you get this person's love? If you were always seeking mom's approval, maybe through sports, through your school grades, all different kinds of things, through the outfits that you wore, you may be noticing that now you're starting to people please. If you're currently feeling like you're never enough, you'll start to recognize that that might have come from you not feeling like you were unconditionally loved. And this is where we have to take the baton. We have to take the responsibility to show ourselves that regardless, we are always more than enough. With all of our failures and all of our flaws, we are always more than enough. And every single experience, every single failure, every single flaw is a learning moment for us to grow, expand, and to become the best version of ourselves. So we really have to flip this narrative before it starts to create a story of its own. Because when it becomes a story on its own, it puts you into a place of feeling like a constant victim. And that's one of the bigger things that I want to make sure that you're taking away from this episode is that victimhood. Like, this episode is not to place blame on anyone else or to make you feel like a victim. This episode is to show you that you now have the power to create from this point forward. You now have the awareness of what's going on here, and you get to decide how you move forward in the future. There's 3 different scenarios that could be going on here. Number 1, you had a mother that was present and loving, which is very, very rare. So please, if you're hearing this right now, go send your mom like the most kind, loving text, just appreciating who she is, because it's very rare nowadays. Number 2, you had a mom that maybe tore you down. Or number 3, you had a mom that wasn't present at all. And I was shocked to hear this. Research shows that if you had a mother that was not present, maybe because she passed away when you were really young or something of that sort, if you had a mother that wasn't present, it actually does less damage than having a mother who was cruel and unkind to you. So the most severe out of the three is having a mother that was cruel and unkind to you. So if you feel like that is you right now and you're recognizing like, wow, that definitely was me, this is your sign right now to really take some time to see exactly how that could have affected you. And there is also like a middle ground, a gray area for this as well. Sometimes we have a combination. Sometimes we have a mom that is present, but she doesn't give us guidance. She's more of a friend. Sometimes we have a mom who is loving, but she's also very anxious and worried all the time. Sometimes we have a mother that is very protective, but she's also extremely cold and she doesn't express her love. Sometimes we have a devoted mom, but a very depressed mom. Maybe we have a very caring mom, but she's also extremely overwhelmed. So each of these different dynamics could have been at play. Like if you're sitting there and you're kind of starting to reflect on your own experience and you're like, well, like I had a good childhood. I completely understand. And I like am so happy for you. I really am. And I would start to kind of question, was there any of these dynamics at play? Because even if it was just a little bit, it highly impacts us more than we can even conceive. If your mom was tearing you down because she had unrealistic expectations of you, or she was just cruel, or she just wasn't helping you or supporting you, or maybe she was even jealous of you. I've seen dynamics like that, which is so, blows my mind, honestly. Maybe she was just going through so much and she was just like she was not able to be present or emotionally available. That's also a really, really big one. You know, you could like be with your mom but not have like deep conversations. All of these dynamics, every single one plays a huge part into how you show up in the world today. So every single thing that I'm talking about in this episode, it is called mother hunger. And mother hunger has now officially been recognized in the medical field as a real thing that does affect and create anxiety, people pleasing, and other mental health crises. So if you are experiencing anything, any one of those, or you're just in this and you're thinking like, wow, this explains so much, I want you to take the time to, number one, name it. Number two, reflect on it, okay? Really take the time to reflect. And I want you to, instead of holding resentment and frustration and all of these things towards your mom, I want you to actually write her a letter. You do not have to send this letter. I would recommend not sending the letter, because a lot of times when we're searching for that apology, we're typically not going to get it. So I want you to write this letter. You can burn it if you want. You can put it away. You can save it for a couple years. Do whatever you need to, but you need to get all of these things out. If you have all these questions of like, why did my mom treat me this way? Or why was she like this? Why was she like that? I want you to take time to write out all of those questions and really start to give yourself the love, the acceptance, the nurturing, the kindness, like become your own mother. And this is where so many women come to work with me. They're not even aware of mother hunger and like what's going on. They don't even have a name for it, but they are in this experience of feeling constantly anxious. They're finding themselves people pleasing. They're feeling like they're never enough. And then they come to me and they work with me one-to-one, and they end up having the biggest breakthroughs that they've ever had. And I mean like building the business of their dreams, having their highest cash months, opening up a new business, starting a business on the side of their 9-to-5, like finally going for that promotion on their 9-to-5, starting to get like huge bonuses from their 9-to-5. There are so many different benefits that come out of doing this kind of internal work. And sometimes having someone just to talk through everything with you and for them to show you that you actually have so much to offer. You are actually so fucking incredible. You are so worthy. You are so loved. Having someone model that and show you what it's like to be nurtured and guided and protected and loved on, it's like such a healing experience. I feel like me becoming a mom was just absolutely I mean, obviously it was meant to happen because I believe that was my destiny, but also I just feel like it almost illuminated and amplified this version of myself that is meant to support women in the world and support them with these kinds of things, because this is so deep. Like, this is not just, we're talking about what kind of content you're creating. Like, that, this goes so much deeper than that. And even with that, I will say, like, the way that you could be holding yourself back in your business, the way that you could be searching for external validation that's leading to you getting no views and you feeling like shit. Like, so many different things are affected by this mother wound. And I wanted to bring light to it today so that you can start to recognize these things. You can start to act out of the opposite. So if you notice, you're working really, really hard to get someone's approval, take a fucking beat. Take a beat and recognize that you are worthy regardless of how much you're working or how much money you're making. You are absolutely worthy exactly as you are. Take the time to do the opposite of what you've been doing. If you're people pleasing, start asking for the fucking raise. Stop doing things that are out of alignment with what you actually want. Stop saying yes to things just because you feel obligated to do so. This is the time where you get to take control and you get to decide how you show up. So please do so. Start putting yourself first. I know that so many generations before us thought that it was selfish or a waste of time to put ourselves first and to be selfish. But actually, we as women are taking care of so many freaking people. We are providing so much to the people around us that we need more energy and more time to pour into ourselves so that we can give so much more to others. So take that time, ask for more help, show the people around you that you actually do need support, because it is okay to ask for it. And stop wishing for things to be different. I know that this is like such a touchy, hard thing to come to terms with, but stop asking for things to be different and just show up differently now and give yourself the healing that you truly need here. You have always been enough. You will always be enough. You are worthy exactly as you are. And I am sending so much love to you. If you had any aha moments in this podcast, please send me a message. Let me know. I really do want to hear from you. This is something that I've never really spoke about myself, and I think that it's really, really prevalent. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts. I want to hear if you guys want more content like this. I am always here to support you. I am always in your corner. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you guys in the next episode.